Thank you so much for choosing to invest this time with me. Just in case you missed it, my name is Tolu Areola, and honestly, it's really a passion of mine to help you succeed and thrive in life and in your work. And this is Empowerment Masterclass. I call it a growth community that I created for those who are really ready to break free from whatever is holding them back so that they can actually step into a richer and a more fulfilling life. Listen, it's my mission to guide you as you discover your own power because you have power within you, right? As you transform your challenges into great victories for you so that you can ultimately thrive both in your personal life and in your work. I mean, it's a big deal for everybody, and I know it's a big deal for you. So I'm super excited to walk this journey with you. And honestly, thank you so much for being here. I always say the very fact that you are here, you set aside time to be here shows me how serious you are about growth. And I say that growth always positions you for better opportunities, greater opportunities for you to take advantage of. So, again, thank you so much for being here. Now, I like to start like this all the time, right? 30 to 40 minutes is not enough time to allow us go into a deep dive into every facet of today's discussion. But I like to give two guarantees every time you come into my masterclass. One, by the end of today's lesson, you will have enough that you can take and go walk with right away. It's always a guarantee from me. And then second, by the end of today, I'll give you the opportunity to take a deeper dive, especially for those that really, really want tangible results immediately. And again, if that sounds good to you, do me a favor, put yes in the chat. Put yes in the chat if that sounds good. If you're ready to get started, put yes in the chat. Let me see one or two yeses so I know that we're all together. Put yes in the chat. If you're good to go, ready to roll, all right. I see Solomon. All right. All right. Thank you all so much. It's really gonna be an amazing time, honestly. So again, you know, we are doing a part three to today's lesson. Today's lesson is growth mastery. We've been talking about the shift from overthinking uh to peak performance action, and this is what part three. And honestly, we've been discussing about the three critical shifts that need to happen for you to move from overthinking to peak performance. Every one of us needs it. Now, take a breath with me because many of you didn't show up today because you lacked vision. I know you have a great vision. I know you have a great plan for the year. You showed up because maybe you're tired of starting strong and then, all right, you're finishing inconsistent. A lot of people like that. It's a lot of stories that I hear throughout the year like that. And, let me actually tell you a story. It's a story that happened to someone I coached a while back. It's a fantastic leader, sharp, you know, a capable leader, fantastic leader, respected leader, like really, really great. But he had a pattern, right? Every Monday morning, right? He was always on fire, fresh goals, a new plan, a new burst of energy. But by Wednesday, by hump day, right, it seems like the week has pretty much eaten him up alive. Right, his calendar was pretty much stacked with meetings that he didn't choose. His inbox was running his life. His team's emergency became his emergencies. Right, how many people can relate to that? By Friday, he said, man, something just hit me. He said, Coach Tolu, it's like I'm working hard, but I'm not moving what matters. And I hear that a lot. It's almost like that hamster in the wheel. You're running and running and running, but you're not moving what matters. And then he even said something extremely deeper. He said, I don't think I have a motivation problem. I think I have a structure problem.
Hmm.
And that's exactly what shift number three is about. All right. You see, a lot of us, we have motivation. We don't lack motivation. But listen, I agree. Motivation is powerful, but I call motivation a visitor. All right. Motivation is just a visitor. And if your growth depends on a visitor that shows up once in a while, right? Of course, your results are going to be inconsistent, right? So I want us to anchor today's lesson with one truth. And here's the truth: a system will carry you when your feelings won't, right? That's what today's shift is all about, right? That's what it's about, systems. That's why we're calling shift number three the shift from motivation to systems and accountability. And we're going to unpack it, real good for you to get it. So, but before we do shift number three, let's kind of honor where we started. Let's kind of, because we've been on a journey since the beginning of the year. So we started with defining what growth mastery is. We said that growth mastery is the disciplined ability to turn your awareness into aligned action until your results become predictable. It's about predictable results, right? Not just learning, not just inspiration. We're talking about, aligned action. Not just you attending these sessions. We're talking about aligned actions that you keep repeating until your results become predictable. It takes the mystery out of everything that you're doing, right? And we've been building on three major shifts that needs to happen. The first shift we talked about, right? It was moving from mental noise to clarity of focus, right? Right? That was all about focus because we said when everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. When everything is a priority, right? Nothing moves. And we learned to reduce the noise and just choose one lane, right? Choose the thing that moves the needle. And we said, learn to ask that one question, right? It's right there on your screen. What matters most right now, right? What is the best use of my time right now? And that shift gave us clarity. And then we went to shift number two, which was moving from the shift from perfectionism to progress action. Because we said that perfectionism is fancy procrastination, right? So if you're one who likes to make sure that all your ducks are lined up in a row, you're just procrastinating. And honestly, right, it sounds responsible because you're trying to keep everything in a row, but we said it keeps you stuck. And then we learned to move the moment we have 70% clarity, right? We said use the 70% green light. In other words, if you have enough clarity to start, move, right? If you have 70% clarity, move. Your action, your movement will create the rest of the 30% that you need, right? And we said just move messy and you can refine as you go. So that shift gave us movement, right? So here's the reality. When we're talking about clarity, I don't want to miss this point. Clarity without action simply becomes a frustration for you, right? I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm clear about it, but I don't do anything. Right? Of course, you're going to be frustrated. But then at the same time, action without a structure and a system, that's where the inconsistency happens. And that's where I find a lot of people getting stuck because they want to do a whole lot of things, but then they are inconsistent with it. So clarity without action is a equals frustration, but action without systems becomes inconsistency. And that's what we want to address and break. And that's where this shift number three exists. The shift, right, from motivation to systems and accountability. This is where your growth becomes repeatable. This is where your growth becomes predictable. It takes the mystery out, it takes the stress out, right? And we're going to unpack this because I'm telling you, the moment I made this shift, it was like a light bulb went off. And it's going to happen for you also. So, when we're talking about this shift number three, I'm trying to take you from this place of, I do it once in a while. I want it to become, this is who you are. And that's what shift number three is. It's where once in a while becomes, this is who I am. All right. We were talking about motivation earlier. Don't miss this point. Yes, motivation will get you started, but motivation can't sustain you. No, you have to have a plan. You have to have a structure. You have to have a schedule. Motivation gets you started. Yes, but motivation is unreliable. Your systems are predictable. It Motivation cannot sustain you. Your schedule sustains you. Your habits sustain you. Your environment sustains you. Your accountability sustains you. Systems make your results predictable. It's that simple. So today I want to give you this simple map. I'm telling you, it's worked for me. It's going to work for you. It doesn't matter what platform you're on, whether you're corporate, professional, or you're an entrepreneur. This simple roadmap is right there on your screen, right? Routines, we're talking about daily routines, weekly rhythms, and then your accountability relationships. I'm telling you, this is not hype. This is not about pressure. This is the simple structure that has been a gold mine. Gold mine, you know, big game changer for people that are high professionals, are high productive, and active leaders that are getting results. And I'm telling you, it's the same thing that can happen for you if you could just embrace the system. Very simple: routines, rhythms, and relationships. I call them my three big R's. I've been using this for over 2 decades, and I'm telling you, first of all, because I'm naturally wired in a certain way, right? It wasn't so hard to adopt. But everyone that I've taught this method, I'm telling you, the stories that I hear are really remarkable, right? But let's start with the first one. Let's talk about routines, right? I call routines, small, repeatable actions that you do even on the days that you're super busy. Why? Because they protect what matters before your day gets out of hand. They protect what matters before your day gets hijacked by other people, right? Let me tell you a story of a professional that I coached, one of my coaching clients last year. And, very, very talented professional. But she was very reactive because though they were talented, every single day that they had, right, started the same way. It was their phone first, and then emails, and then meetings. And then before she could even choose what was her own priorities, it just seemed like the world and everything chose for her. She said by 10 a.m., she was already behind. So guess what? I didn't give her a massive plan, right? All I did was install a simple routine, very simple routine. It was a simple 25-minute morning routine that I told her to do. And that was it. I said, listen, put your phone down, just choose one needle moving priority and start it before all of the other noise takes over. And I'm telling you, within weeks, she said her stress level dropped and her output rose. Now, not because her life got easier, it was simply because she reclaimed her day. She stopped being, reactive to her day. And we're going to talk about it. She designed her day. Right? She told me, listen, I feel like now I'm leading my day instead of surviving in it. And I'm telling you, that's what routines do. All right? Routines make the right actions that you take become automatic. They put your life on autopilot, and I'm telling you, you get the best results out of that. Routines make consistency easier. And you've heard it before, right? Consistency compounds. A lot of us, if we can just take consistency on the right actions, we'll get the results that we're looking for much easier. But we're so random and haphazard with our actions that we never get results on even the good actions that we're doing. So if your business depends on how you feel, right? I feel like going hard today, man. You will only perform when you feel good. And your feelings lie to you all the time. Your feelings aren't always right. And leaders don't build big businesses and big careers on feelings. No, big businesses, great careers, great brands are built on solid structures and systems, right? In fact, your structures and systems already define what you can and you can't build. Here's the truth: you don't rise to the level of your intentions, you fall to the level of your systems. Think about that. So instead of you asking, how do I stay motivated? I'm challenging you to ask, what routines makes the right action easier for me to repeat? What routines can I set in place so that this action that served me, I can do them over and over and over again? Now, just pause, just reflect on this. Answer this question. It's right there on your screen. What is one small action, if you do it daily, will make everything else that you do easier? Think of it. I mean, what part of your day is being hijacked right now? Is it your mornings? Is it your middays? Is it your evenings? What routine can you put in place to protect it? That's what we're talking about. If you can set the right routine in place, regardless of what it is, I am telling you, your results will be predictable, and your results, right, will continue to be something that you repeat over and over and over again without you worrying about whether you get results or not. That's what growth mastery is all about. That's what it's all about. So think about it. If you had to choose one non-negotiable for the next 2 weeks, for the next 14 days, what would that non-negotiable be? One routine. Think about it. Whatever it is that you come up with, hold on to that. It's routines that will make your consistency easier. Whether it's you, you know, posting on social media, studying your scripture for those of us that are people of faith, making your sales calls, you have to build it around a routine that you do consistently. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be a strenuous routine. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. So the key is we start with routines. Routines, you do them daily, right? You do them on a daily basis, every single day. You can range from 10-minute routines to 25-minute routines. All right. I don't try to exceed 25 minutes when it comes to my routines that I do. Okay. And I will show you when we're talking about, setting in our calendar. But let's move to rhythms, right? I said here that a rhythm is a regular qualitative change, right, in a variable process. In other words, I call routines the architect of your week, right? This is how you structure your schedule itself so that your priorities don't compete with urgencies and emergencies. A lot of us, we most of our days is filled with us reacting to urgencies and emergencies, especially urgencies and emergencies that are not our own. Everything that has to do with everybody else but ourselves. Let me tell you a quick, a story. One of an entrepreneur I coached, also last year, right? I was, this an entrepreneur that I coached, like he was working hard. Truly, he was working hard, like, but his results were very, very inconsistent, right? His revenue was inconsistent. His content was inconsistent. He even said at one time that his sleep was inconsistent. Like every day just felt like he was scrambling. And guess what? Right? He was trying to create and sell and deliver and do his admin work and his accounting work. He was trying to manage his life. He was trying to all of that in the same day, every single day. Of course, that's going to be stressful. So he came to me, we talked about the problem, and then you know what we did? We just installed a simple rhythm, right? I gave his priorities a home on his calendar. I introduced what I called theme days for him, right? Pretty much a day for creating, a day for, you know, delivering his products, a day for selling, a day for doing admin work, a day for doing, accounting work, a day for doing cleanup. I'm telling you, right? And they were literally time blocks in his days across each week of the month. I call them focus blocks. I said, once it's this time from 9 to 10:30, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, this is the only thing that you do. And I'm telling you, right? Suddenly the guy told me, man, I feel calmer. I feel like I'm producing more. I feel like I'm accomplishing more, right? Why? Because what used to be random became repeatable. Listen, here's the truth. When you don't design your week, I said it last time, your week designs you. I said this same phrase in a mastermind I had last year, and this lady, reached out, did a discovery call. She said that really spoke to her because she felt like our weeks have been designing her. She had not been designing her week. Again, same exact thing. We designed the structure and the system for her, and she's doing fantastic right now. In fact, last I heard, right, she works for one of these, you know, uh, big major oil and gas companies. Because she changed that restructure, it was noticed by our workplace and our team, and she got a massive raise, and she was moved back. She was moved to a higher position and moved that back to the city of Houston. Amazing story. Why? Because if you don't schedule it, it's not sacred. If you don't schedule it, it means it's not sacred. It means it doesn't matter. If you don't schedule it, it means it's optional. What gets scheduled gets done. What gets measured grows. I simply don't understand how people don't live their lives on a schedule using a calendar. It's one of the best ways to get results, predictable results. Listen, I call systems are the key to have repeatable results that you're looking for. Systems are not ideas, right? They are scheduled. They are repeatable actions that guarantee your results. It's that simple. That's the reason I always say that success is a predictable outcome. There's nothing mystical about it. They are all planned outcome. So if you don't plan everything, right? I was talking to a couple of family members, a while back, who just do things at random and then want me to come build them out. I said, look, listen, I plan everything, right? Because one of my coaches taught me, he said, you need to have a 30-day plan, a 12-month plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 30-year plan, and a 50-year plan. I mean, I was thinking, what do you mean a 50-year plan? And at the time he said this, right, I was a very young man. I was still like 22, 23. He said, yeah, you have to plan. He said, what you do is you get a planner. And if it's like today is March the 29th, it says just project 10 years from today, March 29, 2039. What would I love to have happened in my life? Do you know that just doing that simple plan allows you to put your whole life in a frame where you can actually build out a plan on some of the things you want to happen. And that plan guides your decisions, it guides your outlook, It guides everything that you do. Those are the kind of things you do. So that's why ideas are, I mean, systems are not ideas. They are scheduled, repeatable actions that guarantee your results. You know, I worked with a client who said, I want to grow my business. And then I asked him, so how many sales calls are you kind of making weekly? He said, well, it depends. I said, it depends. I said, okay, well, if it depends, then you can't grow your business. Why? Because it depends. It depends on how you feel. So the days that I'm up on it and I shoot on those sales calls and I get them done. The days I'm not, I don't do. No. So what we did for him was to create a very simple system, right? At the time I called it like a 5-3-5 system, right? Pretty much we created a focus block for him. We said 5 outreach calls every single day. And then you have 3 follow-up calls every single day as well. And then you do 5 calls to prospect every week. Basically, it was a rhythm we created for him. And we do it the same time block every single day, 5 days a week. I mean, it's really nothing fancy. But here's what happened to him. He created consistency. And that consistency created momentum. And that momentum created results he wanted. It's that simple. You want to lose weight, for example, right? Listen, you have to create a rhythm. You can't do it haphazardly. I am going to wake up at this certain time and I'm going to go to the gym or go to my home gym and I'm going to do this workout plan. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. You keep the same time and the same duration 3 times a week. Now, let me see you do that for 3 months straight and see if you won't get results. Of course you will. But what happens to most people is they start really motivated. Yeah, I'm gonna lose weight. I'm gonna do this. And then the first 2 days, man, this thing is hard. Man, why? Because they overestimated intensity and underestimated consistency. Consistency is the key. I'm telling you, if you don't get anything else and you get that, you're going to be good. All right? So now let's reflect on these answers to this question. What are the 1 to 2 outcomes that must happen weekly for you to feel like, man, I think I've had a great week? Think about that for a moment. What are 1 to 2 outcomes that must happen weekly for you to feel like, man, I've had progress? Is it that you've bagged 2 clients? Is it that you've talked to prospects? Whatever it is that you're doing. Because if you're unable to answer that question, it's going to be hard for you to accomplish some major things. It's really, really key. Some of you might have to write that down right now. What are 1 or 2 things? Now, did I lose everybody? All right.
No, you didn't.
Okay. So think about that. 1 or 2 outcomes that must happen for me to have an amazing week. Because if you can do that, wow. Now, whatever answer you got, here's what I want you to do, right? Where can you install focus blocks? I'm talking about 60 to 90 minutes that you can just block out, that no one can steal from you. If you can, if you can identify those, I'm telling you, you are good to go. 60 to 90 minutes blocks that life can't steal from you, your team can't steal from you, right? What you can put on your calendar that will just improve your priorities, right? And then you put it on your calendar. That's the key. Now, let's make it practical. If you can do it right now. If you can't, it's all right. Maybe you're driving or something, but I want us to make it real, especially if you're serious about this shift number three. If you can open your calendar, like I use a Laurel Dennis calendar, right? Right here. Can you guys see my calendar right here? Find 60 to 90-minute window this week, not next month, not next week, this week, that you can just, block out. Is he on Wednesdays? Is he on Fridays? Whatever. That will be your focus window. That'll be your focus window. If you can find it, if you can find it 3 days a week, if you can find it on Monday, on Wednesdays, and on Fridays, protect it. All right? Protect it. Because those windows are your focus windows. What you now do is schedule, all right, what you want to do in that window and title it after your priority. Okay? This is my client outreach. This is my prospecting. This is where I will draft all my proposals. This is where I will write my book. This is where I'll do content creation. This is where I'll do strategy. This is where I will do deep work. Name it, place it on your calendar, and protect it like an appointment. Like it's on your calendar, it's like an appointment with yourself. I'm telling you, it's been a difference maker. And everyone I teach, every client I teach this, right? I'm telling you, the result is almost like their results 10x. You put it on your calendar. I always tell everybody, your calendar doesn't lie. Your calendar is your truth. And in fact, if you're not even using the calendar now, you've not even started. Because if it's not scheduled, it's not protected. If it's not scheduled, anything goes. And if you can do that, I'm telling you, that's what leadership is about. Remember, everything rises and falls on leadership. And the first person you get to lead is yourself. So if you can't lead yourself well, if you can't even lead yourself to produce consistently or to do things consistently, how would you lead other people to do that? So it starts with you. That's what good leadership is all about. So let's let's talk about the third key because I want to open it up for questions. Now, this third key, right? A lot of people avoid it because it requires a huge amount of humility. We're talking about accountability partners. We're talking about relationships. Relationships that keep you accountable. I call this the bridge between your intention and the result that you're looking for. Oh, yes. And let me say this clearly. When we're talking about accountability, it isn't about control. Accountability is care. It's someone helping you keep your word to yourself. You were never designed to do your life by yourself. You see, there are some things that you won't do if Somebody wasn't holding you accountable. I'm telling you, that's the importance of coaching and mentorship and having accountability partners because they help you get the success without the pain. Let me teach you up. This one was a corporate story that happened last year. You know, there was a manager of a team that I coached who just kept delaying having the doing the hard things, right? There were difficult conversations he needed to have that he wasn't having. There were boundaries he was supposed to kind of set and some strategic, people he had to talk to make some big asks. And, there were decisions he meant to communicate that he just was not moving. And all of a sudden he was so confused. And he had all of this thing in his head. And he was so confused and he was really alone by on this because it was just him trying to do this himself. So he came to me, we were talking about the problems, and I was challenging him on his mindset around it. And then I said, okay, you know what, we're just going to add, it seems to me like you have the plan, it seems to me like you know exactly what to do. Like, what's the reason you're not doing it? So I don't know, I just think about it and I think about it and I just don't do it. And I said, all right, I am going to be your accountability partner for the next 4 weeks. And I'm just going to ask you one question every time we meet, just a simple question. And guess what the question was? I said, every time we meet, I'm going to ask you, did you do what you said you would do? That's simple. Did you do what you said you would do? And I'm telling you, right? It wasn't like we did anything great. He just got with the right accountability partner and he made the shift. Because every time he came, I didn't spare him. You said you were going to do this. Did you do what you were going to do? Now, I'm telling you, that simple question did for him what motivation could not. Because think about it, it's harder for you to just drift when somebody expects progress from you. That's it. The man was now doing what he was supposed to do because he knew he had to come to an accountability meeting to answer that question. Did you do what you were supposed to do? Another entrepreneur, right? That brilliant guy that I worked with, right? He said he was always getting stuck because, look, I'm my own boss. Nobody asks me, nobody expects execution from me. I can do what I want, whatever I want. And yeah, people kind of celebrate me for all of these ideas, but there's no one that can hold me accountable for my progress because I'm my own boss. And I said, well, would you like help with that? And we did the same exact thing for him. All right. Same exact thing. Accountability calls every week, made some shifts. And I'm telling you, the difference for him was amazing because now what he was inconsistent about, he was now consistent because he knew he had to give an account for the goals that he said he wanted to do. You see, there's power in accountability relationships. See, that's why coaching is so powerful. All right. Even if you don't get a coach, you need an accountability partner. You need somebody that can, hold you up for the goals that you said you want to accomplish. Because here's the truth, you can't build big results in isolation. Now, not because you're weak, but simply because your growth is too important to be left to how you feel, to be left to your moods. No. Whatever you tolerate, you're going to repeat. But guess what? Whatever you report and you give an account for, you're always going to improve it because there's power in accountability. That's the key. So now I want you to reflect on this question. What would you change if somebody expected progress from you? Not perfection, but progress. What would you change? In other words, who's holding you accountable right now? Who's the one person that you can trust enough to be honest with you about the pursuit of your goals. If you don't have anybody, you've not even started. And that's why I'm challenging you. I always tell people your life goes faster when you have accountability in it. See, that's the power of coaching. That's the power of mentorship. That's the power of you having somebody, right? Like holding your hand in the journey. Is a success without the pain. But yet, lots of people never do that. That's why they've not mastered growth yet. But for you, it's going to be different because growth mastery is the key, right? So now let's put it all together now with everything we've talked about. Shift three is very simple. I'm asking you to embrace routines. Why? Because they'll protect your days. Embrace rhythms because they'll protect your week. And then embrace accountability relationships because they will protect your follow through. This is how growth mastery becomes predictable. It's not about pressure, it's about design. That's the key. It's about designing your life. Look, you get only one shot at life, not two, not three, just one shot. So you've got to design it in the way that serves you the best. All right? Stop. There are lots of people that live their lives based on other people's opinions of them. They're so attached to other people's opinions, they get so stuck. Listen, it's your life. You better design it. Right? And if you're a person of faith like me, you design it according to the Creator's plan for you, which means that there are things that you should be doing, and then there's some things that you just can't bear to waste your time with. You get only one shot at life. And see, the older I get, I turned 50 last year, and I was just looking at my life in the last, you know, 5 decades, and I found out that I'm so grateful for coaching and mentorship because I'm telling you, it put me on the fast lane. Because when I looked and compared, where I was compared to some of my peers, I was like, wow, there were landmarks and land moments in my life that I could trace it back to some of the principles that I was taught, that I chose to embrace, that 20, 30 years later, they were the difference makers. Things like writing down your goals, things like never ever living your life without a schedule. Right? I love checklists. Right? Writing thoughts down, writing ideas down, not trying to use your brain as a storage, but those simple principles. I found that the most successful people are brilliant with the basics. Now, what I'm telling you, all right, go listen to, you know, the big dogs in the industry. This is exactly what they're doing. And these are things that, you know, I found myself doing way before the success happened. But they're principles of life. That's how you master growth. And that's what I'm challenging you with, ladies and gentlemen. So let me give you a very simple 7-day challenge. All right. I call it your growth challenge for this week. This week, all right, just choose one from each category right here. All right. Just choose one routine that you're going to do 20 to 25 minutes every single day. Just one routine. You pick it. You decide it. I don't know what your life is. So I couldn't even, but pick one routine. Is it that the big goal is to write a book? So maybe your routine is, all right, I am going to review content 10 to 20 minutes every single day. Remember, the routine is every day. So, and that's why I put it 10 to 25 minutes. And then pick one rhythm, a rhythm move that will happen. You're going to schedule 3 focus blocks, right? 3 focus blocks you can do 3 times in a week, or you can do 3 times in a day, but just there are time blocks that they are yours. Some people call it white spaces on their calendar, but they are yours. Nobody messes with it. They are yours. Schedule them out and make it a rhythm. and then find an accountability partner, right? Find somebody, find a coach. Look, the reason the reason I say this is somebody that will check in, right? I'm not asking you to do multiple things, just one. Just pick one routine, one rhythm, one relationship accountability partner. Not five habits, right? I'm not asking you to change your whole life. I'm just saying just choose one thing. That's the key. When you start small, you see the big difference. You you watch and see how your growth stops being accidental, right? It now becomes predictable, regardless of what you're trying to build. That's the key. That's a big key. So let me land this plane so that I can give you an opportunity to ask questions. So some of you are not stuck because you don't know what you do. You are stuck because you've been trying to do this growth thing with motivation all by yourself. All right. Hoping that you will feel like it on a consistent basis. That never happens. Again, the truth is that motivation is not built to carry you. You can get you started, but it's not going to keep you going. But a system will. I'm asking you to build a system. Remember from the lesson of today, routines protect your day, rhythms protect your week, relationships protect your follow through. And if you don't design your week, if you don't design your month, if you don't design your life, it's going to design you. If you don't design your week will design you. So I'm asking you to design your life. So here's my invitation to you. Very warm, simple, real. If you're tired of starting over and over and over again, if you're tired of the inconsistency, if you're tired of feeling like, you have to feel motivated before you move, listen, let me help you. Let's build your system together. All right. Like I offer every time I do a masterclass, schedule your free discovery call with me. So that's simple. Go to toluareola.com/book a call. On the call, we're going to do three things. We're going to clarify what your growth target is, and then we're going to identify what's breaking your consistency. And then we will install a very simple system for you that you can use and execute immediately, right? It's the same thing we talked about. We execute, I will show you the routine, the rhythm, and the accountability. And I'm telling you, this thing is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters consistently. That's the power. Consistency compounds. So don't just live today with notes. Don't just live today with inspiration, right? Live with a scheduled next step. Book the call. Let's talk about it. Let's help you with your next level, right? Because your next level won't respond to your intention. Everybody has intentions. It will respond to your execution. And that execution, right, becomes consistent when you have a system. It's that simple. So, again, you won't rise because you're motivated. You will rise because your systems won't let you stay the same. A system will carry you when your feelings won't. So, again, book your call today and I'll see you on the call. All right. I hope that that has been helpful for you today. I really, really would love, for you to ask any questions you have. I hope that's been helpful for you today. This is a system that has helped, you know, lots of people. It's helped me personally, and I hope that has served you well. So if you like to ask a question, let me use the remaining time that I have to kind of just answer a couple of questions. You can put it in the chat. You can raise your hand. I'll bring you up front, and we'll have a conversation, and then I'll let you go. All right. Questions, comments. Let me see if I can see everybody. You can put it in the chat if you don't want to ask it live, or we can talk about it. So, if you don't have a question, I have one for you. Like, what is your biggest takeaway from the lesson of today? You can put it in the chat or you can raise your hand and let's talk about it. Your biggest takeaway, especially what you're going to do as a result. All right, let's see. Who do we have? Let's pull on that. All right. Yeah, you can just chime in. All right, thank you for that. Let's see. All right, thank you, Lord Sharon. She says accountability is just as important as the systems you build. That is true. That is so true. Why? Because when you know, you know, an old mentor used to tell me, he says, you watch yourself like your worst enemy is watching you, right? So when you know you're accountable to someone or you have to give an account of something that you're doing. Now, all of a sudden, right, you know you have to show up and you can't just, BS your way around. So you build a system because you know that you have to be accountable to someone. So here, I said it earlier, the biggest challenge to accountability is humility. So if you are going to be accountable, man, you need to drink a lot of humble pie because those people that are holding you accountable, they're not going to cut you any slack because you're giving them the authority to speak into what you said you would do. So I'll give an example. Like when I hold people accountable and they tell me they're going to do stuff and they don't do it, and I'll be so tell me, what's the reason you didn't do it? And then they want to start giving excuses. And I'll be like, well, remember, right? Leaders and successful people don't make excuses, they make progress. So what does it say about you when you don't do what you said you would do? Now, of course, that's a big humble pie they have to eat. So the next time, guess what? They always show up because they don't want to hear that question again. So it takes a lot of humility, and I hope that it's something that you can take on. Mary, thanks for that. Mary says, take the next step, put it on the calendar, and do it. Fantastic. It's such a very simple concept, right? But there are loads of people that never do that. First of all, they try to remember, they try to go by their, they try to go by, you know, by memory. That never works. Do you know how many thoughts go through your mind? But guess what? If you have a calendar, I use this calendar, it's filled up for the rest, right? It's a year calendar. My year's planned out. It's all planned out. So if anybody wants me to do anything, right, the first thing I do is take out the calendar. So if it's already protected, then you can commit to it. Oh, but some people say, oh, well, is this, I gotta. Again, like I said, if you don't design your life, if you don't design your week will design you. All right. All right. Any other comments? Any other question? Let me take one more. Anybody? Like your biggest takeaway and what you're going to do. Oh, by the way, Sharon and Mary, right? I like Mary, you said that take the next step, put it on the calendar and do it. So my question to you is that when are you going to start doing this?
Today.
Today. Fantastic. There you go. Hey, and if you like me to hold you accountable, all right, let's get on that call. In fact, you and I need to catch up real quick and share on you too as well. All right. Hey, listen, I hope this has been helpful for you. Again, um, if you like to book a call, please get on toluareola.com/book a call. Let's, it's totally free. I'm not gonna charge you for that. This is about your goals. Let me help you. Like I've helped a countless number of people. It will really, really help you. All right. Again, thank you all so much for being on the call today. Looking forward to the amazing stories that you have as a result of you applying these principles. I love, 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 love to hear from you. So until next time, all right, come on, keep enjoying the empowered life. All right, God bless you. And see you
Thank
next
you.
time. See you next time.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Rest of my life, everybody sing. You, you're the savior.